guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for your love on my last week's video. Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. Thank you for the welcome back. I'm equally excited to be back, and I meant it when I said I was going to show up every week. So this is me showing up every week. You don't want to know the struggle. But this is me showing up for this week. So hi, how you guys doing? How has been your week? It's been a very draining week for me, but today's Friday. We thank God it's Friday. So what are you guys doing today? How are you enjoying your Friday? Anyway, today's video is going to be very, it's story time. Basically, I come bearing gist, so I disappeared obviously almost throughout last year. I was just on and off, and from the beginning of the year I've not showed up, and today's gist is going to make it make sense. Obviously from last week I already gave you guys an update that I had a baby, and so today's gist is just to share my birth story for you guys, how God saved my life literally and my baby's life. If you're new here and if this is my first video you're seeing, hi, hello, welcome, thank you for joining, thank you for watching. I hope you stayed to the end, and I hope that this video encourages you, or you find it interesting. Please encourage me as well in the comment section by commenting, by liking the video and sharing. And for my returning subscriber, you already know how much I love you. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always supporting your girl. It's very appreciated. So straight to the gist today. So today's story is actually my birth story and how God saved my life and that of my babies. So first of all, it started on the 5th of January 2023. I was already 38 weeks pregnant at this point. I was, close to 38 weeks and some days, and I had an appointment with my consultant midwife, and it was at a different hospital from the one I gave birth at, from the one where I was having my appointments. So my husband had to drive me there. We went there together, and it was a scan appointment, and the midwife, checked the situation of the baby inside my stomach, and then she was like, oh, like she's not happy with what she's seeing, that the baby is not growing. She collected my growth chart. So we had this we had a lot of files and appointment letters and everything. So part of the files they gave us was the growth chart. So she was now trying to explain to me, even though I didn't really understand, like how, like what the baby was weighing the last time she was checked, and that was like three weeks earlier. And then what she had lost weight, so she wasn't growing, she was decreasing in weight. And then the midwife was like, no, that we have to take the baby out, so that means they have to induce me, and this is already a full-time baby at 38 weeks, of course, so everything appeared to be safe. So she said, okay, I shouldn't go home straight from there, because ordinarily I was supposed to do the scan. If everything was fine, I was supposed to go back home. So she said I shouldn't go home straight from there. I should head to my hospital. She already called them there. So we headed there, and we got there. So we saw another midwife. They put me in the observation room, and then they monitored my baby's heartbeat. I don't know why I'm touching my stomach, but yeah, they monitored my baby's heartbeat with the CTG scanner. And so the heartbeat wasn't giving, like it wasn't like consistent what they wanted to see. So it will be consistent for a while. They were supposed to monitor it for like 30 minutes or 1 hour, I'm not even sure again. So it'll probably go well for like 20 minutes, and then after like 20 minutes you just drop, like in a very, like the situation they were trying to explain to me, they weren't really satisfied. So they were like, oh, that the best option is for them to do induction for me. So they're going to book me in for induction. So for induction, they said that they were going to, like, they wanted me to be 39 weeks at least before my induction. So by the time they booked, the dates they gave me for the induction was a day after I was 39 weeks, so they were fine. So they booked me for the induction, but they did the first stage of induction for me, which was membrane sweep. If you know anything about membrane sweep, very intrusive kind of induction. The deep hand in my dog. It was, so the first membrane sweep was by a student midwife, and she did it. She was actually gentle. It wasn't very painful, but nothing happened. Then they booked me for another observation the next day. So the next morning I went there 10 a.m. and I was there literally from morning till night because the observation kept going on. Like, they did it, they weren't satisfied with the heartbeat. They told me to wait, to rest, to walk around, come back. Like, they just kept observing, and they weren't really satisfied. But because, like, so they wanted labor to start naturally, and so that's why they were doing the membrane sweep. So the next day, I had to wait to see a doctor to do the membrane sweep. So now it was like a senior doctor that did the membrane sweep for me. In fact, I think that was my first time seeing a doctor in all of my consultation throughout my pregnancy. So the doctor came in, like, she explained to me what membrane sweep was. I already had one the last day. And like, because she's a very, very senior person, the way she took her hand, oh my god. The way she took her hand inside my vagina, it was so painful. Like, she literally put almost almost the whole thing, and then she was trying to like turn whatever she was turning inside my stomach. So it was painful. I actually cried, like. So she when I started crying, she stopped. She stopped, and I was like, oh, okay, so they're just trying to start up things. They're trying to start up things naturally for me, and to see if my water will break and the mucus plug will come out and everything. So I went away for the weekend after the membrane sweep. So obviously I got back home. I was very tired, and I was praying and hoping that baby, like, things will happen, water will break, no water. But on Sunday night, I was supposed to go in on Monday night. That was the 9th of January. I was supposed to go to the hospital for induction on the 9th of January, and on Sunday night I saw the mucus show, mucus club, the mucus thing that comes out. I saw it, so I told my friend that. She was like, oh, it's the mucus thing. So I was excited that, okay, it looks like it's coming, baby is almost here. So Monday morning, we carried our bag and baggages, left the house, and walked to the hospital. So on getting to the hospital on Monday night, I was admitted at the antenatal ward. So they had like this ward for people that were being induced. So that's not the labor ward. They had, like, I didn't even go to the labor ward at all, but I'll get to all of that. So I was at the antenatal ward from 9 a.m. in the morning. They admitted me, it was really decent. So so I was just in bed all through the day. We're waiting for doctor. Okay, so the first thing that the midwife did for me was a CTG monitoring again, to see baby's heartbeat, if she was satisfied with it. She did it like up to 6 times that day for the whole of that Monday. So like, you'll be reading perfectly, but there will just be one part that would just not be good, and then she'll be like, let me do it again. Then she finally got a perfect reading, like 2 consecutive times, and she was like, oh great, so let the doctor come. And because obviously midwives cannot make decisions by themselves, they just have to do everything. The doctors come, read the scan results, and then they give go ahead. So the doctor didn't show up until like 8 p.m. So by the time the doctor showed up at 8 p.m, my husband was still with me. Obviously, my husband and I were at the antenatal ward all day. So he brought his work laptop. So when the doctor came around 8 p.m, she was like, so she read it was actually a junior doctor. She read the CTG of like 3 hours before, like it was ready 3 hours before she came, and she was like, oh, good to go, she should start the induction. But the midwife was like, well, and this midwife was a Nigerian, very lovely lady. I think her name was Shakira or something, very lovely. So we gisted, we were very playful. She was very friendly with my husband and I, and she was telling us stories on how she also had her children and the experience and everything. So she was like, sis, let me try this thing one more time before the induction. Once everything, like, she'll just start it for 30 minutes. Once everything is good, then she's going to insert the induction medicine, and then things should start naturally by within 24 hours. So we were getting ready for that. So she put the CTG thing again, then she went for a ward round and everything. So while all of that was happening, it was already 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, men and visitors generally are not supposed to be at the antenatal ward again. They're supposed to go back home and wait to be called if anything happens that midnight. So obviously my husband had to leave. So I was left alone. He didn't even want to leave. He was reluctant to go, but they didn't allow him to stay. So he didn't even come home because he was going to be home alone. So he went to our friend Cola's place. So he was at Cola's place playing PS4, trying to trying to shed away the pressure and the emotions and everything. Okay, so the midwife went for ward round, like she was checking other patients as well. I just noticed that the scan was beeping, like he just had some beeping, beep beep beep. And at this point, up to this point, I didn't even understand like the way this scan thing was really, because I just trusted everything they were saying to me. So I just thought that it was beeping, like so there was one buzzer that we could press when there was something. So me, I just thought in my own mind, I thought that maybe one of the wires had removed, so maybe the setting was bad or something. So I just pressed buzzer, and then the midwife came after like 5 minutes, and then she was literally in shock. Like the expression on her face, she appeared afraid. And then that's where I'm like, what's going on? She was like, She didn't say anything to me. She was like, okay. I was even still telling her that I wanted to eat myself. So she let me go and eat myself. And, like I was walking to the bathroom and I almost fell down in the bathroom because for whatever reason, I felt one very, very sharp pain on my back. A kind of pain that I've never ever felt before, throughout pregnancy. So just maybe it was part of labor. I like, okay, so I think I've had the conversation with my friend, and you're like, oh, it's early labor. Okay, no, it was even the midwife that told me that, oh, that is, early, it's also sign of being in labor, but it's just like the tip of the iceberg. I'm like, what tip of the iceberg is this playful that I actually almost fell down in the bathroom? So when I walked back to the room, it was after I came back to the room that the machine, beeped. And then, so when the midwife came in, she was in shock. She was actually very surprised, and she appeared afraid, but I was just watching and observing. Afterwards, she called the other midwives that were on duty with her, and then like they started chit-chatting, and I was like, what's going on? They said, oh, don't worry, my lovely, everything is fine, da 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 da. I shall know that she told me that, okay, so that they need to call the doctor, that everything is fine, that she don't be worried, that she don't be scared. They need to call the doctors to come and see what's going on, blah blah blah. And then the next thing I saw was that she pressed the emergency buzzer, and then 2 doctors came first. So the 2 doctors that came, they checked me. Those ones were OGs, very, 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 very sharp. Oh, they checked the reading. They were like, oh, okay. And then the next thing I heard is that, my darling, it looks like you're going to have an emergency cesarean, and this is because the baby's heartbeat has dropped, and for us here, the most important thing is to save the baby's life, blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay. At this point, I was already afraid. Like, I was already getting scared because the way everybody was looking, I'm like, what was happening? Is my enemy going to die? Because I'm not going to die. So I was already afraid at this point, and I was like, oh my god, God, please take control. My husband was not here, so I was literally alone with all these, doctors and nurses, and I'm like, oh God, please help me. Holy Spirit, help me. I started getting worried, and then immediately my husband called me as if he was in the spirit. At that point, he just called me. I was like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not understanding again. They're saying it's looking like. The next thing I heard was like, okay, so like I couldn't even explain well to him. So I just passed the phone. I'm like, ma'am, I passed the phone to the doctor. I was like, ma'am, can you please talk to my husband? And then I don't know what she told you, but Isha asked her that, can he start coming? She's like, yes, start coming now. I'm like, okay. It looks like so. So the next thing, the other doctor was like, sweet, my darling, I'm going to pass you some blah blah blah. She started passing me injection, gave me some injections in my hand, put catheter. I don't know if you know what catheter is, but is that like urine bag? Put it for me, like the only time I actually knew what catheter was here because I did some care job. So that's how I knew what catheter was. So I've always inserted it for people before, but like it was very strange. They had to insert catheter, for me, and it was very uncomfortable. But like they were rushing, and I was very, very scared the way they were rushing. So the doctor was like, I should not worry, that some doctors are going to come now. I shouldn't be afraid, but they have to save the baby. It's very, very important. So it was at that point they now explained to me that the heartbeat that the machine was reading was supposed to be around. So I might be wrong, I don't know, but it was supposed to be around 140, 150 thereabouts. That even if it drops maybe 130, but it will jump up back immediately. Like it's supposed to be around that point. But at the point when I heard the machine beeping and I pressed my buzzer for the midwife, the heartbeat had already dropped to like 70 something. So from at that point it was dangerous. So apparently for induction, for labor to happen, they need the baby to be active, they need the baby to want to come out. But my baby was already tired at this point, and she was already restless and wasn't active. And truly, while they were testing and everything, she wasn't kicking, she was just Mama was just there, jeje, living her life. She wasn't active. I think she was sleepy. Yes. So they said she's not supposed to be sleepy. So by the time the heartbeat thing dropped to that 70, like it wasn't supposed to drop that low. So if the midwife had seen it, she probably would have raised the alarm earlier. But she wasn't supposed to drop that low. So they were like, no, like this. So I don't even know. They shall scatter everything. As in, the way they used to carry, if you watch movies, how they used to do all these emergencies, how they used to pull, when they're bringing like maybe an accidented patient that is probably almost dying, and the way, the doctors are always running with that bed thing. That was the way they moved me from the antenatal ward to the theater, and it was quite a distance. And the way the doctors were running, I was so afraid. Like they were not even talking to me again, like they were just talking to each other. They were like 6 doctors. They were running, pushing the bed, said I should just relax, my lovely, just relax. I'm like, how am I supposed to relax? Oh my god, what's happening? Oh my goodness, Jesus, please help me. I was so scared. Oh my goodness, I was so scared. But obviously my husband already called, and thankfully where he was not too far from the hospital. So it was like the speed of light. All these things I'm telling you guys about it happened within like 30 minutes. Like I was already in the theater. Like they were already, immediately I got there, like 5 people were attending to me at once. As they were attending to me, they were talking to me. They were like, my darling, we have to be fast, we have to do everything quickly. I'm like, okay, like too much information. And I was already on that in distress. I'm like, God, what's happening? The next thing I heard was, okay, they already pulled my clothes from the antenatal ward. They gave me the uniform, the hospital, the surgical uniform. So I already wore that uniform. So my back was bare, I was naked, so it was just the thing covering my front. And one of the surgeons was like, okay, I need you to arch your back. So they I need you to arch your back. Then while that one was doing it, another one was my friend and saying, okay, please, I need you to sign this. And I'm like, and then another one was telling me that please, you be calm and everything. And at the same time, if you watch my pregnancy video, you will know that I was actually very sick during pregnancy, and up to this point I was still sick. Like even though I was excited that the baby was getting out of me, I wasn't very, very okay. So with all the fears and everything, I was feeling sicker. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so the so they were trying to put the anesthetics. I don't know, is that the right word? Well, you get what I'm saying. But that thing that they shall put down numb your body, they were trying to put it on my back, so I had to arch my back. Like the way the doctor was shaking, I was not calming down. When he first put it, it was like, am I feeling any pain here? It was touching my upper back. It was touching some parts. He said I should let him know. I'm like, is it painful? I said, yes, it's painful. He said, no, it's not supposed to be painful. I think he didn't really put it on the spine. He didn't get it correctly, because I felt the pain, and like I was still feeling pain around it. So it was like, no, it's not supposed to be like that. So he had to do it on another spot on my spine. So the anesthetics they gave me was 2 times. So I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but then it was 2 times, and obviously it seemed like they made a mistake with the first one. So I'd already signed the document. I didn't even read it. They were just telling me. I was just like, please, where's my husband? The other one was like, oh, don't worry, your husband is coming. And thank goodness my husband got there like very, very fast. It was as if he was waiting for them to call him. So he got there very, very fast, and then it happened. Everything just happened so quickly. Like it was so scary. So I was actually very afraid. So after the anesthetic started to work. After I started to work and I started to feel, like it was almost full anesthetics for me, because I think the 2 things, like because they did it twice, it was a bit more than it was supposed to be. So from what I heard, it was supposed to be just below my breast, like the numbness was up to be below my breast, but it was almost here at my, like, it was above my breast, almost at my neck. So it was only this part of my body I was feeling, you know, anything. The other part was completely numb. So um while while like they laid me down already, they already covered and put that shield thing, and then, you know, it was at that point that my husband came in. No, okay, before he came in, I was just like, oh, I want to throw up, I want to vomit, you know, like. So one of the doctors carried sick bowl and, you know, held it beside my mouth, but I couldn't really throw up. And like, I was very nauseous, I was throwing up, but I, you know, obviously I wasn't feeling the rest of my body, so it was very hard for me. So my eyes were very red, I was very sick, like I felt like I couldn't talk. I just needed to throw up, but it wasn't very comfortable. I don't even know if you understand what I'm saying, but like, it wasn't very comfortable. Then when my husband came, the doctor just handed the sick bowl over to him. It was almost full, like the amount of vomit that came out was almost full. And, you know, I was just like, they even changed the sick bowl, so I was just throwing up. But the surgery was going on because obviously they were trying to save the baby, you know. So because of a heart rate that was dropping, so I didn't even like okay, so obviously I'd already told my husband that he should film more, that he should please try and do videos. We even did some videos, obviously. we did some, you know, clips of us strolling into the hospital, being admitted into the antenatal ward, you know, and all of that. So, you know, I thought it was going to be vaginal delivery, and because obviously I was going for induction, so I was like, oh, please make sure you film all the drama so that I can post and everything. So when my husband held the sick bowl and he came in, it was, I could see, like, I literally could see worry in his face, and he was like, well, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? He held my head. He was like, what's wrong with you? Please talk to me. Bele, please talk to me. Say something. Please say something. I could not talk. I was just said, please, are you okay? Please, are you okay? Like, he literally wasn't fair. Like, I saw it in his face, even though he would tell you that it was it was brave, but almost like I literally saw it, like, fear in his eyes. And I was just grateful that he was there, because that was the first time I felt calm, a bit of calmness, since, you know, the whole rush started, because I was so afraid. And then, you know, like, he held my hand, and even I didn't feel it, like, he held my shoulder. Okay, no, he held my shoulder. So because obviously my hands were, you know, very straight, I couldn't move any part of my body, so he held my shoulder, you know. But and then he was like, I should talk. I'm like, I couldn't say anything, I was just vomiting. And then I was tearing up. So so even when they brought out the baby and the baby cried, he didn't leave me. Like, it was just like really bothered and concerned about me. He didn't even go and check the baby. I'm like, you know. And then while the surgery was going, I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't make videos. You see, I can't make videos. Look at the way you are. I cannot make videos like this. Oh my god, I could not say, dude, make videos. Oh my god, I could not talk, because if I could talk, I'll tell them, please just try and make small video. Let me even see what they are doing, you know. You couldn't even really look at what they were doing, like the way they were cutting me and bringing out the baby. You couldn't really look at it. He was more concerned about me and how I felt. So basically, he was just, you know, watching me, and he held me, and really, so after the whole thing, you know, the baby was brought out, and the baby was crying. He didn't even go and check the baby until, you know, they gave me, so they gave me anti-sickness injection. So the doctor was like, don't worry, your vomit will stop now, the baby is out. Then they gave me an anti-sickness injection. That's where I felt a bit of relief. And then they now brought the baby to us, and then we took this first picture that you're seeing. So so we took the first picture, you know. That was when, you know, he was able to carry the baby, and then, you know, he paid attention to the baby, and that moment really means a lot to me, you know. Like, you know, like, he didn't just abandon me on the sick bed to go and face his child, even though now, like, the child is the love of his life, and I'm happy for her. I love it for her, you know. I don't think I'm one of those moms that will be jealous, but let's see when we get there. But I'm really happy for her, because it's been my lifelong prayer that, you know, that my children will have, like, the best dad. So he's already the best dad. But, you know, like, I was just really grateful that, you know, that moment he stayed and waited till I was very, very okay. And I was just really after the injection, I was relieved, and, you know, I felt better. I was just grateful to God. And yeah, we took our first picture. So the highlight of it, because obviously after everything I was very hungry, like, immediately they were wheeling me out of the theater, I was very, very hungry. And as God will have it, the midwife that was attending to me post-op was like, oh, would you like some tea, bread and tea? I'm like, yes, please. I would like anything to eat. I was very surprised because I know that when people have surgery in Nigeria, especially cesarean section, they don't eat for days, a day or two. Even when they eat safe, they give them water or ghee or something, like. So I was very surprised, but I was very grateful because I was starving. So like it was literally immediately, immediately they wheeled me out of the theater. They gave me one very mad ass toast and tea. Bread, butter, and tea. It was so yummy. It was so perfect for that moment. So I ate it. My husband, played with baby. They gave the baby vitamin K injection. So from that point, so my baby was born on January 12th at 1:20 a.m. My baby was born on the 12th of January, 1:20 a.m. And then between that time to so after the care, everything, I left the operation area and all by around 4 a.m. So they wheeled me to the postnatal care. So the postnatal ward. So the postnatal ward, they didn't allow my husband in. Obviously, it was too early, so they told him to go back home as well and come back by 8 a.m. in the morning. So the postnatal ward, I don't know if I should be saying everything that I experienced in that place on this video, but really, I just feel like, if you're giving birth here, like, well, honestly, let me not generalize because it could have just been my experience, but a couple of other people have shared their experience that it wasn't necessarily the best, because even though like the post pre-baby care was really excellent and it was quite great, the post baby care wasn't necessarily the best in my opinion, and it led me to a lot of things that I experienced afterwards. So obviously when I got there, the midwives, I think maybe because they are overworked and they are short staff, weren't necessarily the nicest. Literally dragged me out of bed the like around 6 a.m. I had my surgery at 1 a.m. and then by 6 a.m. I'm not even angry, like I wanted to come out of bed, and then she was like, so I wanted her to hold me and everything. She was like, oh, put your leg on the floor, you can walk, you're good. Like, so she literally, yeah, she gave me a hand, but like I almost fell down, but like she was there to help me up. Then she took me to the bathroom to have my bath, and there was a seat there. She said I couldn't sit down, I should stand, I should have my bath down. Fine, I'll be all right, that should be fast, that there are other people. Like she wasn't necessarily the kindest, but I took everything that they were doing because I was just too tired. I wanted to sleep. Baby was sleeping. Also, I didn't mention that breastfeeding, I didn't know what to do, but the good thing was immediately after the surgery, the midwife there was like, oh, I can see that you already have colostrum. That's the first thing, that's like water that comes from your breast. And then she was like, oh, should I collect some for you and feed the baby? I'm like, please, anything for the girl. Anything for the girl. So she collected some colostrum and then fed the baby, and that was what the baby had till like around 4 a.m. or something. So we didn't have after I had my shower and everything, my baby woke up and started crying, and I was clueless. I didn't know how to breastfeed her. The midwife just came to me that, oh, do you want to breastfeed? I said, yes, I want to breastfeed. She said, then you need to put her to breast. I'm like, how? She said, just keep putting her to the breast. Like obviously I was putting my baby to the breast. She was crying and frustrated and everything, and so they had this disposable formula cow and gate in the postnatal ward, and then so it was just a very tiny bottle and it was not even hot, it was cold, like in fact that was the first set of food that my baby ate, and it was very cold. And then they said that I should feed my baby, that after 2 hours I should make sure I dispose it. So I had to feed her because she was obviously hungry and she was screaming. She was shouting, and I didn't know how to help her. I already started crying because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't wait for my husband to come in the morning so that at least I'll have help with me, because the people there were not very necessarily helpful, because obviously we're lots in the ward. I think we're like 10 in the ward, so obviously they were attending to everybody one by one. So the next morning my husband came, it was helpful. He did his own shift. I was able to sleep a bit. We were alternating, and then people started coming. It was fun. We called people, called family. It was fun. We were grateful. I was very happy, and the emotion was not consistent. I was happy. I was surprised. I was relieved. I was anxious that I can't breastfeed, but I wasn't even thinking about the going on. But so I'll say that my postnatal ward experience was not the greatest, and they weren't necessarily very helpful. I remember when they were going to discharge me, that I was asking them, oh, I'm still in pain, I'm still feeling pain, what am I supposed to use, what medication am I supposed to use? The midwife clearly told me that they don't prescribe medication, that she can't tell me what medication that I'm taking. I was dumbfounded and I didn't know what to do. I just had surgery, for crying out loud. The only thing they gave me was one injection thing that was supposed to be injecting myself for like 2 weeks, and was going to help me. It was going to help prevent blood clots. So that was the only thing that they gave me, and then they gave me the pool softener laxative for me to use. So that was all the things I had, and I went home with very little information. And anyway, this is the end of today's video. In order for it not to be too long, so in my next video next week, I'm going to be explaining how we transitioned from the hospital to how we settled into life, and my experiences, because I believe that I had some postnatal, postpartum drama. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing all of that next week. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're grateful to God for me. And if there's anyone here that is currently a new mom and is feeling confused or feeling, you can feel free to reach out. I pray that you find help, and you have people around you that will help you. And if there's anyone that is watching this video that is really trusting God for a child, and that is really trusting for God for their own testimony and their blessing, I pray that the Lord will perfect all that concerns you in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Thank you for staying and hearing my gist till the end. If you have any questions, if you have anything to say them in the comment section. I'm right there responding. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. I'm grateful. See you in my next video next Friday. Bye.